Hi guys, and welcome back from A to Z TV. Thank you to all those who've watched my videos, who've liked, comment, shared. Thank you so much, and let's keep the conversation going. So today I decided to come to you guys with something that is definitely just based off experience and not really based off of any scientific proof. So I want to talk about the top five foods that we have noticed that cause either joint bleeds or spontaneous bleeds, even when on prophylaxis or on medication, and also as a carrier, these things have affected me, and they've also affected my mom and my brother. So we're gonna do top five. We're gonna start at number five. So number one is gonna be last, and everybody should stick around for this, especially because the summer is coming. I think some people will be surprised if you don't know. So stick around. Put in the comments what you think they might be, or what you've noticed has maybe caused you some bleeding or baby boys some bleeding, and let's talk about it. Number five is parsley. So parsley is something, it's a leaf, of course, and it's also a seasoning that a lot of people put in food. I don't know if a lot of other cultures use parsley, but I will say that I am Haitian, so a lot of Haitians use parsley in their seasoning, or sometimes they even tell you to drink parsley tea, depending on what the problem is or anything like that. So this comes from the fact that my mother in Haiti drank parsley tea when she was breastfeeding my brother. And at the time, he was not on any kind of medication or anything like that. And after she breastfed him, he basically threw up like blood. And since then, she was like, that was the indication that he can't have parsley, but that didn't mean that she stopped having parsley. So what we've noticed, though, like as I've gotten older and I've sort of tried to watch what I am putting in my mouth, I've noticed that parsley may cause me some joint discomforts. Not so much joint bleeds, but definitely like joint discomforts. And my brother has stated the same. So that's number five. Number four. So number four is alcohol. Not some people will be like, Dorothy, seriously, alcohol, duh. But as a 21-year-old, that was really surprising for me. Like, you're in college, you go out drinking, you have alcohol, you dance, you party, blah. And my knees would be on fire. And when I say fire, like, I've been on the floor crying, like rubbing my knees because they're so swollen and hot, and like ice packs are not gonna help, and like the medication, like I was on DDAVP, so that may work, but really you just have to write it out. My brother has stated the same. It's very clear, like, some people, if you drink and you're a hemophiliac, you better factor up before going out on the town. Now, some people may say that they see less bleeding if they just drink and they don't do anything and they stay at home. But I think most of the time, if we're drinking, it is in conjunction with like going out or partying or at least socializing. So you're on your feet. So you're using, your leg muscles. So the ankle joints, the knee joints, or if you have a target joint such as your elbow or your shoulder, like automatically that's going to get targeted. So alcohol is a big one. At least for me as a woman, as a carrier, it's a big one because I didn't know until I was 21. And for a long time, I was like, what is happening? Like, am I getting my period? Like, why is my knee swollen? I didn't put two and two together. And then it was like, no, like the harder I drank, the more my knees swell. So That put a little, threw a curveball in my partying. But what I have noticed is that as I've gotten older, like, depending on what my level of exercise is, or like how long I'm on my feet, just being a mom and running after children, like if I have 3 glasses of wine, that may impact me negatively. And so, I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna stop drinking anytime soon, but it is something that I do watch, because my intake has gotten, especially after babies too. If you're breastfeeding, like your intake becomes so. My intake has gotten very minimal, but it is something that I did notice in my partying years. Long time. No, I'm joking. All right, so on to number 3. So number 3 is almonds. So this one is something that I was like when my brother told me, I was like, you're a lie, and I don't believe you, and I refuse. But then I really couldn't argue with him. So almonds. So a lot of people, like, first of all, there's almonds everything now. Almond milk, almond this, almond that. Like, almond is the new, like, healthy thing to eat. Growing up in Haiti, like, literally, like, everybody had an almond tree in their yard. Like, I didn't even, for a very long time, I didn't know where almonds, like the dry almonds, the whole almonds that they sell, where it came from, because I've only seen them in fruit form. So I have always eaten the outside, which is the fruit, and then, like, the fruit, it's like a seed, almost like an avocado seed, and you kind of have to break it to get to, like, that almond that they sell in the United States everywhere. So I've eaten almonds since I could remember, or the fruit, anyway. But when I got into healthy living and healthy fitness, I ate almonds, instead of peanuts, because peanuts is a lot of fats and oils, and it's like, yeah, you should eat peanuts, but not a lot. So as a snack, I ate almonds. But what I saw was, every time I would eat almonds, my gums would bleed. But I never put 2 and 2 together. I was just like, oh, these gums are bleeding, whatever. So, but yes, like, now my mom also will say, if she does eat, like, almonds, like a handful of almonds, she'll notice her target joint is her knees. And she'll say that her knees get swollen. My brother, I mean, I'm not sure what his experience is, but he just told us, like, almonds were just one of those things that we shouldn't eat. And I was like, what? I was so shocked, and I had to give up my almonds. But the one thing I will say for those parents, you have to read every ingredient in the snacks, especially because sometimes, like, a granola bar has almonds, right? My sister just bought this thing yesterday. It was like this sweet. It was a vegan sweet, so it didn't have dairy, so it used, like, coconut milk, but it had almond. And so it's like, you really have to read. I am not somebody who drinks whole milk, so I used to drink a lot of almond milk because it was the other alternative. Now on the market, there's, like, oat milk, which I don't really understand. But so we've done almond milk, we've done oat milk, as well as soy milk. But it's really something interesting, because I love granola bars, but a lot of granola bars have almonds in it. So it's led me to have to read them before I give them to my son, or eat them myself. So I try not to buy those kind of things in the house anyway, because I don't want an accident to happen. All right, so we move on to number 2, celery. So I don't know who's eating raw celery out there, but more power to you. Those things are gross. Just my personal feeling. But for celery, again, when I was on my healthy kick, I used to eat celery with peanut butter. That's the only way that I can eat them, with lots and lots of peanut butter. And it's very well known that celery is like a blood thinner. So probably shouldn't have it. But definitely, you do experience, like, target joints and some bleeding, if you're eating celery. Now, the thing about celery is that it's included, like people make tuna and put celery. People do what is that thing where it's like the chicken and the casserole? I don't know what it's called, but people put celery in that. So sometimes celery is added or like in soup, or like you can put the celery and take them out. So celery is added in these places where you may not know you're eating celery, but you're having celery. And so it can slip in there and you're like, oh man, like my knees are bleeding, or my ankle or my shoulder or whatever, or you have some spontaneous joint bleed. You don't know where it comes from, but in reality, like you ate celery and had no idea. So that's another one. That's a big one. Like if you think about potlucks and everything, when you don't know what other people are bringing, and sometimes like celery is a really big thing that people use in cooking and in baking, depending on what it is that they're making. So something to watch out for. So it brings us to number one. All right, number one is a big one. Pineapples. Now, I know, I think they are just the most delicious thing on earth. But pineapples will tear up your joints. It will tear, like, if you want to have a bad night, have some pineapples. You'll have joint bleeds. You'll have a breakthrough bleed. Like oh my gosh, I can't even express like the fear that I have of pineapple is crazy. People think I'm crazy, and I've gotten so good that like I can taste it even before I ask. I'm like, is pineapple in this? Like, so the thing with pineapple though, like if we want to talk about those ones that just seep right, they sneak right in, takes a seat, and you don't even know it's there. It's like you don't know it's there. Like think about all the tropical things we eat. Like, you know, there's tropical this, a tropical drink, a tropical candies, all of them, if you read the ingredients, have pineapple. All of them. And so a lot, like I don't buy tropical juices in my house. I don't buy tropical candy in my house. Like I just don't, because I know without knowing it, I'll put that in my mouth and that's it. My knees are gone and my elbows gone. My gums are bleeding. Like it's not happening. So one of the big things for kids, besides the candy and all the tropical juices and stuff, is like those cut up fruits. Yeah, sometimes the juice in them is pineapple juice. So you need to like read every label, like every label, because you could be aiding or at least not doing something to help stop a bleed. And by just changing these little habits of eating, they could help with not having an excessive bleed. So one of my experiences that I was pregnant with my son and we went to Taco Bell, and I didn't order a drink. I'm not a big, fast food drinker, or even Taco Bell eater, but I was pregnant, so, I had a Baja, I don't know what it's called, like a Baja, I don't know, something called a Baja drink. And it's blue or greenish blue, and it's like this big. And I just had like 2 sips, and I was on the couch rubbing my knees. I couldn't sleep. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was very careful when I was pregnant with my son, because I knew that it was a 50-50 chance, but I was like, I'm not even taking a risk of eating something that may cause bleeding, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm rubbing my knees, and when you Google, Taco Bell doesn't really give you, their secret ingredient, but what they do say is that every different Taco Bell either uses a tropical mix or they use a pineapple juice in the orange juice or Mountain Dew, whatever. Well, I can tell you that I knew that I knew there was pineapple in that. I spent all night with swollen knees. And so I would say to watch the pineapples. I mean, like, think about, like, there are people that put pineapple on pizza. There are people that put pineapple in ham. There are people that, of course, like tropical juice, like that's a big one. Or if if you really want to hurt yourself, go to a party this summer and have a punch. You know, the punch bowl, the one that everybody makes. They mix all these drinks together and they put chunks of pineapple, tons of alcohol in them. Yeah, that's another thing that I've done. I've been like, oh, this punch tastes so delicious, and throwing back the cups. And of course, as I'm getting to the bottom, I'm realizing there are chunks of pineapple in there. Why? Because they put pineapple juice, they put pineapple alcohol, and that's what made it so delicious, duh. But here I was, I couldn't even walk to get out of the party. Like, if you want to try and experiment and eat any one of those 5, I would say one at a time, really small amounts to see if they affect you. And of course, please let me know in the comments if you've noticed that any other foods have affected you, because if there are more things that I could avoid or my son could avoid, that would be great. Like, I would love to do that. So as a carrier, as a woman, we already don't have that much medication. If you're even if you're lucky to be on medication, or if you're not on medication, because they're like, oh, you're fine. These are things that you should at least think about, like how it's going to affect you the next day, plan accordingly. But if you're a woman and you're menstruating, like, murder scene. So that's something to think about. Again, I don't know if this affects everybody the same way. I don't know if it's just my family, but this is some of the experiences that we've had with these top 5 foods. So again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for continuing these conversations. I love bringing these videos to you. So please like, subscribe, share, smash that like button, and I'll see you later.